Is obsessed the word? Am I obsessed?
Hindi na napigilan ng airport security ang fans na gustong makalapit sa kanila.
Ngayong gabi na ang concert ng grupo sa Araneta Coliseum.
Binagsama agad ang Korean actress na si Archie.
Hiyawan na ang sumalubong sa Korean actor na si Lee Min-ho.
Ngayon, sobrang na-addict ako sa video.
Tinignan ko sila, oh my gosh, ang gaganda nila, ang gagaling nila.
My bias is Jungkook.
Si Song Joong-ki, tsaka si Song Hye-kyo. Sobrang na-ilove na naman din ako sa kanila.
Okay, make sure...
Guys, no holding please. Don't hurt him.
This video was not made to simply praise the South Koreans and their recent success, but rather to offer an insight on why Filipinos are supposedly obsessed with South Korean popular culture through the point of view of Filipinos who are and are not fans of this genre. The issues or controversies facing South Korea, Korean popular culture, and the K-pop idol system are in no way related to the topic at hand and will not be discussed in this video. However, it does not mean that the people featured are not aware or are supporters of such. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hello, my name is Katie and I am back on Elle's Planet. I am a K-pop fan and I have been a K-pop fan for more than a decade. Whew! 2009. So it's been a long time. Shucks. Woo! So wait lang, nagkaka-epiphanies ako. But yeah, anyways, yeah, since 2009. Oh my god.
Hi, it's me, Maria, your favorite non-vlogger vlogger. I'm not necessarily a K-pop fan, but I'm not a hater either. Like, I appreciate what they do. I just don't, gravitate towards it whenever I want to listen to music or watch movies and all that stuff and TV shows.
Hi, my name is Dwayne, also known as Dagger. It's your boy, Dagger. I'm a songwriter. I'm a rapper. I'm a singer, kind of. I have a new cover of Georgia Smith's Carry Me Home out on YouTube.
Hey guys, so my name is Seven and I write about K-pop, K-dramas, and East Asian culture for the Manila Bulletin in the Philippines. I also work part-time as an OTT content manager in KBS in Korea. I could say that I've been a fan of K-pop and K-drama since my last year of high school or my first year of college, somewhere in between.
Hey guys, so my name is Vance and I am an ex-fan or a non-stan in this case.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Alan. Welcome to our planet. I am the owner of this channel. I have been a K-pop fan since 2011, I think. My favorite group was and is 21. I don't really watch K-dramas. I do love Korean fashion too. What was your first memory of encountering either Korean pop music, dramas, or culture in the Philippines, or as a Filipino?
Nung unang panahon, charot, di naman. The first time I got exposed to Korean music was around 2008, 2009. And I feel like also that was the time that Korean music started booming or started trending in the Philippines. Kahit saan ka pumunta sa Manila, maririnig mo yung songs na mga nagtatrend na Korean. Kahit anong channel ka pumunta sa TV, ABS-CBN, GMA man yan, pag may nagtatrend na music, lagi ipa-play ng Eat Bulaga, Showtime, gano'n. Wala pa atang Showtime noong time na yun. Pero yun, so dun pa lang nagtatrend na yung mga songs. So you hear it everywhere. And these two songs, amongst many others, were To Anyone's Fire and Wonder Girl's Nobody. Mag-aantay lang ako sa jeep, naririnig ko yung Nobody. Nobody, nobody but you. But I didn't become a fan until I heard Chinese Ring Ding Dong. Baby! My humble beginnings. Also, I used to always watch yung Mixed Daily Top 10. Lagi kong pinapanood yun. Kasabayan ng love story ni Taylor Swift was Bingbul Bingbul by Yukis and SNSD O. And I think Sorry Sorry ng Super Junior, if I'm not mistaken. Basta yun yung mga songs. Kasi dun talaga nagsimulang marinig ng general public, well, GP, ng Philippines, what Korea has to offer. And it was new. It was like fresh. Parang, uy, hindi namin ito naririnig as of OPM. Parang bagong-bago to. So everyone was curious, including myself. And here I am.
First memory was, I think, grade 6. My sisters are big fans of Boys Over Flowers. I started watching Boys Over Flowers with them, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually really interesting. I really want to be like Gumjandi because I want my Gujumpyo, Yun yung first memory ko. Oh, also, I used to listen to like 21 kasi Sandara Park was there and like Star Magic Forever. ABS-CBN was living in our hearts.
First one was yung kay Wonder Girls, yung Nobody. Sumunod yung To Anyone. Lagi na siyang pinatutugtog sa mga birthday party ng mga bata sa Jollibee, ganon. That was way back nung 2010, I think. After after nun, Boys Over Flowers. So, yun yung nagpasikat sa Korean series ata dito. Pero alam ko, before nun, marami na din eh. Di ko lang alam kung ano yun.
So, my first ever encounter of a K-drama would be back when Jewel in the Palace was tagalized. It was a big thing in the Philippines. My parents were big fans of it, and I ended up watching it with them. Another thing would also be Pororo. I'm not quite sure if people knew that it was from Korea, but then Pororo was also a big thing in the Philippines. I've seen them in the groceries, their merchandise everywhere. Yeah, my little sister and my little cousin, they also watched Pororo growing up.
I remember my first memory of Korean culture, and I think this is relatable to a lot of Filipinos watching, especially if you were living through the 2009s and 2010s. I would remember my neighbor blasting Wonder Girls music or Girls' Generation music or Big Bang at exactly 9 a.m. And then I'd be waking up to that kind of music. I go to my car, my parents play some arbitrary radio station, and I would probably hear K-pop too. So that is my first experience of K-pop. A very rude awakening.
I think that was around 2009 or 2010. It was a documentary by Jessica Soho, and she featured 21 and other K-pop groups such as Wonder Girls.
Ngayon naman pati ang kanilang mga kanta at sayaw. Sinusundan ng marami sa atin.
If it isn't that, because I'm really not sure, it's 2010 when a classmate of mine brought in an album of Girls' Generation. At first I really didn't like K-pop because I was joining the bandwagon. All the guys in my classroom were weirded out by K-pop. We couldn't even understand it. We didn't know what it was about. Naturally, following the herd, I did the same thing. I said, ew, blah, blah, blah. But nowadays, look at me. I still love K-pop up to this day. K-dramas was around 2006 when I lived in the Philippines for a short time. The helpers at my grandparents' home, every single night they watched Jewel in the Palace. I didn't watch with them, but I do know that it was Korean because they always mentioned that I was from Korea.
Why do you think many Filipinos are supposedly obsessed with Korean popular culture?
This is speaking in a perspective of a tourism and travel management graduate. So I feel like, hindi mas obsessed, I think. Is obsessed the word? Am I obsessed? Magaling mag-market at magaling mag-promote ang Korea. They're not just music, but also dramas and their culture itself. Magaling sila mag-enganya ng mga tao. And they do that using the Hallyu wave. Yun yung nagbi-bring in ng interest ng mga tao with the Korean pop culture. They use these to bring in the interest of people sa kanila. And it's working. Grabe yung pag-boom ng Korean culture for the past decade. Let's say Korean dramas. Yung mga places where the dramas are filmed, those become tourist spots in Korea. And it's true. Napopromote yung country itself. Napopromote yung culture nila. It brings in more people to Korea because of it. I'm a fan of historical K-dramas. First time I went to Korea, yung unang-una sa itinerary ko was to go to the 4 main palaces that were in Seoul. Amazed na amazed ako dun sa lugar na mga sinushoot ng mga Korean dramas. I have to be in there. I have to go there. Korean cuisine, the things we watch in K-dramas, soju. You wanna drink soju, you're curious, you wanna drink soju kasi napanood mo siya sa Itaewon class, ganon. Or yung mga samgyeopsal, dami na mga samgyeopsal places dito sa Pilipinas. Before, wala naman masyado, diba? Kasi a lot of people are getting curious. Now it's just like a whole universe joke. Hindi naman universe.
I think Filipinos really like K-pop artists because they're talented, lovable people who are filled with so much personality. And it's just so easy to go through their albums and their Instagrams and think like, wow, they look so dope. I think I can be friends with them. I don't know much about their performances, but every time I see snippets of their performances in the Philippines, they really try to get to know the culture and even like, you know, give the fans a little Filipino word here and there. It's just really cool because they appreciate their fans a lot.
I wouldn't say na obsessed yung mga Pinoy. I would say na naghanap lang sila ng something na hindi pangkaraniwan. And apparently, sila yung hindi pangkaraniwan na yun na nahanap nila. Kung titignan mo, in terms of Philippine TV, yung kabet is mahirap, na mabait, yung lalaki mayaman na may asawa. So, alam niyo na naman kung saan papunta yung story na yun. In terms of music, kasi dito, hindi ganun ka-strict yung pag-train sa kanila ng Korea. Kasi dito, saan ka nakakita ng mga artista na premiere ng movie nila tapos may pakanta pa sa MOA kung saan man mall yun, di ba? Hindi naman sa I'm hating on my own culture. Pero kung actor ka, mag-act ka na lang. Kung singer ka, sige. Kung kaya mo, both, edi good for you, di ba? Pero kung halata na hindi mo kaya, Pre, huwag mo nang pilitin. Maraming gustong sumikat dito na artist na hindi nakikita dahil yung mga sikat, masisikat pa kaysa dun sa mga marunong talaga na hindi naman nakikita.
I think it has a lot to do with how Filipinos have been very much Western-centric for too long of a time. We've been following a Westernized culture for so long and too long that we eventually got tired of it. With Filipinos being exposed to new media through Netflix, through YouTube, we were open to the idea that Korean culture is actually closer to our own culture compared to the Westernized culture that we have always been trying to swallow and shove down our throats. Koreans are very family-oriented. They have high regard for respect, and these are very much similar with what Filipinos actually stand for. Filipinos are very family-oriented. Filipinos have high respect for the elderly. And you don't get that from Western media. You get that from like the cultures of China, Japan, and Korea. Something close to our hearts. And from that point, you add those values and you put that into a very new kind of entertainment industry that we have never seen before. It's really going to drive you to be very curious. It's going to make you very interested in this whole idea of the Hallyu wave. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Philippines and the Filipino people have been very much obsessed with South Korea recently. And I think this isn't just a Filipino thing. This has been a global phenomenon, this whole Hallyu wave. And I know a lot of people who have been writing this for their thesis. I've been seeing people actually studying this because it's quite an interesting phenomenon.
When you say obsessed, there is a negative connotation. I don't think that represents the Filipino community that admires K-pop as a whole. I think they're more curious of this novel culture that has been brought to the Philippines. I think that they're at the face of cultural admiration and they're at the peak of it. Why do Filipinos love K-drama so much? Filipinos actually have the same structure with their storytelling in homegrown soap operas. Long story short, it's usually the same generic ending. The people who end up together are predictable. I think that K-dramas are full of Korean values and cultural practices that Filipinos also subscribe to. Respecting your elders or maybe even eating together as a family. Very easy for Filipinos to understand the culture and the setting. Last, production quality. It's very well executed. It's not sloppily worked out. I think that it's for international standards. That's why Filipinos love it. K-pop. First, I think it's very catchy. Even if you're not a K-pop fan, I'm pretty sure you probably have heard of at least one song from Twice, from BTS, Blackpink. Lastly, the aesthetic. K-pop music videos, you'd see a bunch of handsome people and beautiful girls dancing, singing, very talented. The K-industry does have a lot of this bias towards lighter-skinned people. I think that's something that also prevails in Philippine society. Although times are changing, majority, there's still this sort of preference for white skin.
Honestly, I think that obsessed is a pretty big word, but then I do understand why the person asked this question. Because back when I was young, I think mga 2012 to 2014, before I actually met a Korean and became friends with a Korean, so yun na, annyeong, what's up? I was pretty cringy. Everything that Korea did, I praised. Everything that I had to be Korean. And I guess many young K-pop fans are like that up to this day. I mean, it's simply because you're young. You just like enjoying new things and being part of this community that obsesses over the things that you like as well. But then, as you grow up, you start to realize the reason you like that isn't simply because you're following a trend. Personally, right now, I still like Korean culture because of the things that they produce and the quality that I see in it. I'm not saying Filipino dramas or music is bad. The stories and the music, the meaning behind everything is very, very good as well. But you can't deny that the production quality of Korea is on another level and the way they promote their culture is another level. I personally know because I've done researches back in college. The Korean government pours billions and millions to boost the K-pop industry and even their drama industry. But the goal of Korea is basically to share their culture, to share the music, to share their dramas. I forgot the exact word, but then I know it's somehow between the lines of soft colonialism. Not necessarily to conquer or to change who you are, but to share what they have to offer, and they want you to take part of it.
In recent years, Korean media and culture has boomed and become very relevant in mainstream media around the world. Examples of such are Parasite winning 4 Oscars, or BTS topping the Billboard Hot 100 and being nominated for a Grammy. But in your opinion, what do you think makes Korean culture or entertainment distinct or successful?
As someone na matagal ng K-pop fan, na-observe ko na this was a long time coming. I feel like it was gradual and they were actually leaning towards this achievement. We always mention sa podcast namin, Spill the Soju podcast, we talk about K-pop and K-culture, and Elle has also also been featured in our podcast. So if you guys wanna check that out, you can also do that. There has been a lot of attempts by the Korean pop culture or Korea to get into the Western market. And recently lang talaga siya nag-materialize with the boom of Parasite and also BTS, being very big in the West, and a lot of groups also like Blackpink, all that. Those recognitions na nare-receive nila recently is well-deserved, I believe. Ang dami pa nilang recognition na ma-receive in the future. I think this is just the beginning. Siguro sa ibang tao, if you're not a K-pop fan, parang wow, anong nangyayari? Pero as a K-pop fan, it was a step-by-step process and they're finally reaching the summit.
Korean culture is so distinct and successful because they just work really hard to get to where they are. It's not like they're just, one-track wonders they release here and there. They're more of like if I'm gonna release a good song, the next following song should be better than the first one that we dropped. And I feel like their taste level, it's very futuristic. Their fashion is just 3008 and we're still 2000 and late everywhere.
From what I know, Korea had a troubled past. Korea as a whole. And doon nag-separate sila. Parang nagkaroon of freedom yung South Korea na create lang sila na create in terms of media. Ang dami nila nagawa until nag-boom sila. Kasi yun yung nagagawa sa'yo ng repression. Ma-inspire ka gumawa ng something out of the hurt and stuff like that. And apparently, if you can see, isa sila sa mga leading na media, technology. Dami nilang leading, pati fashion. Fashion was like 5 seasons sila advanced sa atin, I think. In the movie industry, dude. Iba yung story na pinoportray nila sa mga movies nila. Yung song, may distinct genre na yung mga songs nila. In a way, it still catches the ears of a lot of people. That's it.
I think that it has a lot to do with the values of South Korea and their positive vibes that they were able to bring to the world. There's a pandemic and, there's a lot of uncertainty in the air. And they were able to deliver a quality product that promotes being human and at the same time being close with your family when we need it the most. That's something that's very embraceable by the rest of the world. Another thing is that on their end of the equation, they really take pride in their work. They're very profit-driven. Yes, they need money because it costs a lot to live in Korea. And at the same time, whatever they work on, they're just going to do their best because they know that at the end of the day, it's going to bring honor to their country. They know that whatever they produce in the industry will be broadcasted to the rest of the world. It just really adds a lot of weight to their shoulders. With that mindset, they really do their best to deliver no short of the best of South Korea to the world. And if a nation is really united in coming up with quality work to make a better image of themselves, I think they're really going to dominate. Whether it may be in a cultural aspect or an entertainment industry, it's really going to be very effective for them to dominate the global market.
K-media and culture banks on the idea of globalization and universality in order to forward their own values into the world and make it very palatable and relatable. They've done it first with Southeast Asia and East Asia. It was easier for them because we're Asians, we share similar values. Breaking into the Western market, they've also started tackling issues that are relevant also to the West. So you don't have to be a K-pop fan to understand that Parasite is a story of different classes in society, how they interact and how they diverge and what alternatives these people have. But furthermore, BTS takes a nod to Korean values still. That's why you'd see it in their music videos with them wearing hanboks, etc. Even if they do adapt the Western style of music, they don't forget to incorporate their culture in the lyrics. In a way, they're creating something new without being extremely renegade. I think that's what Korean pop culture has successfully done. They've successfully stamped themselves as part of the mainstream media.
Honestly, I think it's just the openness of Korean pop culture. Korean music is a blend of Western and Asian music. You can't deny that there are a lot of Western influences, and basically they have these so that you, as a person who's used to listening to Western music, would enjoy it as well. For Korean dramas, it's just typically a love story more often than not, and many people relate with that. Korean fashion, they push boundaries. When you think about it, the soft boy movement that we see today, basically Korea's had flower boys for a long time already. There is this aspect of Korean culture that is very open and very new. I'm not gonna down the cultures who are supposedly clothes because I know that they have their reasons. But the difference with Korean culture is, instead of saying no, you can't wear what we're wearing, or saying no, you can't talk the way we talk. When you look at their dramas, when you watch K-pop, when you see their fashion, they don't tell you not to do that. They tell you that they want you to do that. They tell you, please eat our food, please wear our clothes, please wear this handbook. And that's basically part of this whole thing that they're doing, where they want you to somehow love the Korean culture. I think it's this openness that makes them really different and that people love. At the end of the day, humans are social beings, meaning we want to be a part of something. And I guess this is what K-pop or K-dramas or Korean culture in general has, that people are craving for. They want you to be a part of the community.
Korean popular culture in the Philippines had its beginnings in the mid to late 2000s. As K-pop and K-dramas became even more popular and successful through the years, an increasing number of young Filipinos have started embracing this new form of entertainment and have become a part of the global Hallyu community. A community that tells you to love yourself. A community that inspires you to chase your dreams. And a community that exists knowing that when times get tough, all we need is each other.